We're live. Welcome everyone. We're
Hello.
back. This podcast is an alpha and maybe subject to change.
You okay there, pal? You got
No, my headphones are falling off.
you need a bit of a backlash or something? You're like, this podcast is an alpha. Maybe subject to change.
I don't know what's going on. My headphones, they don't want to fit on. They're falling off now. I've gotten to the point now where I wave my headphones. If I wave my head back and forth, they can just fly off at any moment.
I mean, it probably doesn't help that you wear them diagonally.
Well, I mean, I don't wear them that diagonal. I just push the other ear back a tiny bit, you know. Even with this, I think it's worse this way. Also feels really weird. I don't know.
I'm not used to it. Don't like change.
I don't get how people wear two earphones at once. I can't do it.
And we've gone on a tangent already. We're not
We
even
have.
through the intro yet.
It's true.
Oh,
True. Well,
go on.
got my lovely co-host Tef over here, who is quite high up on the cam today. Hold on, I'm gonna move you down slightly. Ooh, which cam are you?
Oh, don't mess it up. Professionalism.
There we go. I don't know why you were higher up than usual, so half your head was off the screen.
Oh no. Not my massive head. No.
No. Oh god, what a start to the podcast.
I don't know what's wrong with me today.
I don't know. It's been a day.
It's been a very interesting couple of days. I've kind of lost.
Been an interesting year.
Oh. I mean, I've started doing this somehow. That's how bad this year's gone.
So it's just gonna get worse from here.
So should we move into what we're playing?
You know what? We could talk about what we've been playing this week.
We could.
I was gonna say but I don't really have a but. So, Tef, what have you been playing this week?
Well, I have a bit of a butt. I have a bit of a big butt.
Oh.
Butts in the can, not that. I've actually not been playing much because for like 3 days straight, I had like had this like I don't know, just like a headache, migraine sort of thing. I'm not entirely sure what it was, but it didn't make looking at screens very fun. So I haven't played that much. I haven't even played that much Yakuza this week. It's been awful. I've played like 3 hours of it, and I've got shakes. It's not good. I'm not feeling good at all. So that's not good. That's awful. In fact, this is why my week's been crap. Finally sat down to like actually get some in yesterday. I sat down like 2 p.m. and I was like, right, I'm just gonna play this till like 10. I'm just gonna smash Yakuza. And then everything fell apart with my PS5, and I spent the afternoon trying to fix that instead, which didn't go well. Actually, the chat 5 order, guys, because it's not coming.
Do you want to go off on Curry's for a little bit? You can do. I'll let you take the stage for that if you really want. Vent a little bit.
I mean, it's complicated. It's kind of just like a clerical screw up. I don't really think anyone's to blame. Maybe me. I am slightly to blame here.
Don't let the Curry stands get to you. Don't give in.
So basically, I only had a PS5 order in the first place due to me getting extremely lucky. On the launch day, this site, this like store in the UK, Currys, was gonna have PS5s available from 9 a.m. and they messed up, and you could actually buy them from like 4 in the morning. And I woke up, at like 7 o'clock in the morning to get ready for work, and I immediately opened up my laptop and started checking all the websites because I was hoping to get one on launch day anyway. And then I saw that one was available on Currys, so I just bought it. Didn't expect this to actually work because I knew that it was out early, and I thought they were going to cancel my order. Everyone who bought one kind of assumed they were going to cancel the order, but I paid for it. I got like a pending transaction on my card, but I didn't get a confirmation email. Went on my account on the website. It said I had no orders currently, so I thought, okay, it's not gone through. It's failed. There's a pending transaction on my card, but I've worked in a bank. I know how that works. When you're making a payment, one of the first things that happens during a checkout process is they put a pending transaction on your card because that sets the money aside for the company so that you can't spend it. That sometimes happens even if the company isn't going to actually come and take your money. If something goes wrong in the later stages of the checkout process, you can end up with a pending transaction that's stuck on your card, and it can take weeks to expire if the company doesn't actually come to claim that money. So I just assumed, since I didn't have an email, or any kind of confirmation. I just kind of assumed that I wasn't going to get the PlayStation. It took 14 hours for me to get a confirmation. I was actually on stream with you, if I remember correctly, when I got a confirmation. I think we were playing Among Us.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I
We do that a
maybe I
lot.
wasn't. No, I'm sure we were on stream. We just did like an impromptu. Um,
It might
yes,
have been
because
last
it was
Thursday.
a Thursday night. It was a
Yeah.
Thursday night, so yeah, we were on stream playing Among Us, and it came through then, 14 hours after I made the payment. Um, so in this intervening 14 hours, I had no idea what was going on, but it was fairly safe to assume I wasn't going to get one. Bearing in mind that I got that at 8 a.m. and throughout the rest of the day, other websites were releasing PlayStations, and there was other opportunities to try and get one. So after a couple of hours, it got to about 11 o'clock. Amazon were releasing more PlayStations at 12. Everyone thought they were the best chance because they had the most stock, and they've actually got a decent enough website that they're not likely to absolutely crap it when everyone comes all at the same time. So I sent a form off to Currys, like an online form, to cancel the order, and it specifically said, "Can you cancel this pending transaction if you don't plan on honouring the order?" And I made that really clear. And the form actually said, we'll most likely want to contact you to confirm that you want to cancel your order. Can you leave your phone number?" So I did leave my phone number, and I thought this is fine. They'll contact me.
This is
So
fine.
if this is fine, they'll contact me. They won't be stupid. They won't just put it through without checking, especially since it specifically says don't cancel it unless it's just a pending transaction that's stuck. Um, I put that through, kind of mostly forgot about it. Got my confirmed order later in the day. Great. 3 days later, on on a Sunday afternoon, I get this email, your order's been cancelled, and I like panicked and freaked out and called them and live chatted them and spoke to like loads of different people because you get a different answer every time on customer service. So I spoke
Yeah.
to loads of different people to make to kind of average out what the consensus actually was. They did all say it's been cancelled. There's nothing you can do. We can't reinstate it. And I was like, this cannot be happening. So I've raised a complaint, but I'm not hopeful. I'm disappointed, but not really for the PlayStation. Honestly, I didn't really need one. I just kind of wanted to play games I already had in 4K, which it's not a big
Mm.
deal. Honestly, it's just like it's a frustrating customer service situation because I know that my PlayStation hasn't been assigned to someone else. Because when 9 o'clock actually came around for Currys, one, they'd already sold all their stock because of the mistake, which was very awkward. But at 9 o'clock, the website immediately crashed because everyone tried to, get on the PlayStation page at once. So to fix that problem, they delisted the PlayStation. They took that page down entirely, and it's not gone back up since. If you go on their website now, it still just says we're completely out of PlayStations. Um, and that's on a separate page. You can't even get to the listing anymore. It's not there. Even I think I've actually got a direct link in my history that I tried just out of curiosity earlier today, and it's a dead link now. The listing does not exist. You can't buy a PlayStation off them. So I know that my stock is just sat there in a warehouse all
Lonely.
alone at the moment, and they won't give it to me. And now they're refunding me, and I don't want my money back. I just want my PlayStation, and it's such a stupid situation to be in because I know that it's just sat there, and they won't give it to anyone else, or they
Yeah.
won't give it to me. It's utterly insane.
Just all alone in that empty warehouse. The light,
With a
the
single
one like,
spotlight on it.
the one light flickering on and off as the forklift goes by.
And it gets all excited as the forklift comes by, but then it doesn't stop. It just keeps on trundling.
Keeps on
It's a
going for
sad
that
sale.
Xbox Series X on the other side.
It's such a sad sale. It's
Uh,
it's awful. Yeah. So clerical cock up on my end and on Curry's. Um, it's just it's sad. And I know that. See, I've like worked in customer service, and I put myself in a position of them, and I know that if the system doesn't allow for it, if the system doesn't have a way to reinstate an order or for them to create an order over the phone, there's nothing they can do, and I get that. But it's frustrating to know that it's so hard to get a PlayStation.
mm,
And they keep going on about how the stock is completely gone, and it's crazy to think that there's one just sat in a warehouse somewhere, like not assigned to anyone. Oh. It
Yeah,
hurts.
it's a sad thought. I can't bear the thought of these poor abandoned PlayStations that are sitting there with no
It's so
owner.
tragic. No PS5 deserves to be abandoned. Not at this time of year when everyone wants one.
Yeah, you
Poor
know.
thing's got abandonment issues and it's not warranted at all.
Oh well, I mean, I don't know when.
Mm,
Like, we don't know when they're coming back in the stock. We don't know what's going on with the stock. There's been a lot of weird stuff with the
mm.
PlayStation launch, and well, I mean that's how console
And the
launches kind of
Xbox.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just even worse, I guess, because of the whole COVID situation. But
Mm.
I don't have it in me to try again with all the queuing and all that. I'm not going to bother. I'm going to wait until they're easy to get. But apparently, that's not going to be until like April, according to Sony, potentially. So, oh, God, who knows when I'll get one now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I've been playing the fun game of Courier's customer service, basically, instead of playing Yakuza 7. Um, I do have one other game that I actually have been playing. I
Oh,
powered through a migraine to play this with Ziff. Um,
Halo.
I've been playing Halo 4. Halo 4 came out on Master Chief Collection. Um, it's weird. I don't hate it. Um,
That's a good start. I don't
yeah,
hate
I
it.
don't I don't hate it.
Oh,
It's oh careful there. It's a game that's got a bad rep because it's not a Bungie game and it's the first game made by a new developer. It doesn't get the best rep. And when it first came out, I really didn't give it much of a fair go at all. I kind of immediately decided I didn't like it when it had QTEs because they really wound me up at the time. I think when did this game come out? Like 2011-ish. And everyone was
QTEs were
talking
big at the
about
time.
QTEs. It was, and everyone hated it, but
Mm.
AAA developers kept doing it anyway. It just rubbed me the wrong way at the time, but I'm coming back to it now. If I just treat it as like an alternate version of Halo, and don't think of it
Halo
as
fanfic.
a continuation of yeah, exactly, because that's what it is. It screws up too much of the original story to be like you can't think of it as being in the same universe as the Bungie games, but on its own merits, I actually think it's a fit. So far, anyway, I've only played like a third of the campaign to be fair, but so
Mm.
far, I've like it's still it plays like Halo. It feels like Halo. Um, it's it stands up on its own merits fairly well. I'm yet to play the multiplayer, but I've heard that that's incredibly dull. But we should
Yeah,
give that a go
that's what I
sometime.
remember.
Yeah, it's got loadouts. I can't be bothered fiddling with loadouts. This isn't Call of Duty. But yeah, apparently the map designs are incredibly boring, which is sad. Something 343 still haven't really got a hold of now. Because all the MCC maps have got the same problem. They're just
Mm.
badly designed. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I played Halo 4. I played through the whole campaign. I played a tiny bit of multiplayer, and then I was just kind of done with it. I was like, yeah, I'm going back to Reach, going back to Reach or Free. You know?
yeah, it's not the same, definitely. But I think as a campaign, it's fine. It's not awful. Like I had this idea in my head that it was dreadful, and it's not. It actually it does some classic Halo things really well. Like the enemies that it introduces are kind of, and the weapons that they introduce are completely pointless. Misses the point of what Bungie did, where they tried to make every weapon unique. They didn't always succeed, but you could tell that they were trying. And I really don't get that impression with 343's new weapons. They just feel like carbon copies of weapons that are already in the game, just created for the new faction that they've added to the game.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, but I don't hate it as much as I used to. I mean, we've spoken about 343 before. They've had Halo for nearly 10 years now, and they still don't really understand what they're doing with the franchise. It's really, really embarrassing at this point. But I guess we're going to kind of come back around to that during the news anyway, so I won't go off on
Yeah.
343 too much just yet. We will be talking about them more later.
Yeah, they've
Um,
not had that. They've not had that Halo game where it's like, oh, this was a good time. I really enjoyed playing this Halo game. You
mhm,
know, it's they don't have that. I don't know. It's just like everything Bungie put out was like, I'm having a good time with this. And then four, it's
yeah.
like 4 and 5. It's been like four was like, okay. I mean, this was a game. And then 5 came out and it was like I think the general consensus was a lot of people hated the campaign in that, from what I understand.
Yeah, so with 4, the campaign is fairly well regarded, but everyone hates the multiplayer, and it's the other way around with 5.
Yeah. So I don't know what the multiplayer is like in 5. I can't say I've played it, but I've just heard really bad things about the campaign.
Yeah, it's awful.
Mm.
From what I've heard, I've not played it myself. Haven't had an Xbox since the 360, but I've heard a lot from our resident Halo expert Ziflock, and he absolutely hates it.
Mm.
Um, and he was telling me a day or two ago now about how all I really know about Halo 5's campaign is all the famous promotional imagery of Chief walking through the desert, like
Yeah,
in
I
a
remember that.
cloak and all that stuff, which looks really iconic and really cool. Apparently, none of that is actually in the campaign. Apparently, according to Ziff, everything that was shown in the promotional material leading up to the game's release, none of it appeared in the actual game. So it sounds like they rejigged the campaign quite drastically all
Mm.
of a sudden before releasing, which, well, I mean, history seems to be repeating itself a bit there, doesn't it, with 343? But again, we'll be covering that more later.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope Halo Infinite does okay. You know, I want it to be interesting. I want it to be fun. It'd just be nice to have a Halo game where it's like, this was a good Halo game. You know, I've not a good Halo game in a while, and this was a good time. But we've got Master Chief Collection at least.
I'm so glad we've got that. That's
Mm.
honestly been one of my game of the years this year. MCC coming out on PC has it's kept me going this year. It really has.
It's been a lot of fun to play. We've played a lot of it, and that and like Among Us, they've been our games that have just kept us going.
Oh man, Among Us just doesn't get old for me. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I actually think I'd enjoy it less if everyone was competent at it. Like it's fun. It is really, really fun when you get a game where everyone's keyed in. But it's
mm,
so much more fun to just mess with people who don't know how to play the game.
yeah. I mean, we've definitely had games like that. I mean, there was that one game. There was like we had a game where it was just like one guy we didn't like in a lobby. I was like, "Don't worry, I'm imposter. I'll kill him." And I just said that, and then I just killed him. And then Tef was like, "Oh, oh."
That was great. No, because you got imposter 3 times in a row, and he died first 3 times in a row. So for each one of those games, I was like, okay, you're imposter. And I knew, but I just like let you run wild anyway for all
I
those
mean,
games.
there was definitely one time where I did it right in front of you, and then was just like, "Shh," and then walked away.
Yeah, we're awful trolls in that game. It really brings it out in us. Like
Mm.
when we were doing after that one guy, like we were binding him up a lot, and I was doing like I knew it was you, but I just wasn't helping the crewmates at all.
I don't know. It's too easy when we actually try and play the game. I think, personally, for
Yeah.
me at least,
Mm.
it's just like I could easily win if I wanted to, or I could just mess around with people and then just have a good time. And I feel
Yeah,
like
I
that's
think
the fun of
we
it.
definitely is, and we've played enough of it now that we sadly we're kind of above the skill level of most of the kids who play it because they don't put that much thought into it. But we figured out all the tricks, which
Mm.
it's not. I know it's not really meant to be that kind of game. It's meant to be a party game, but we've played too much of it now. We're in too deep, and it does make it a bit too easy sometimes.
I mean, I can't imagine playing this as a party game now. I just like imagine getting a new group of people sitting down and then me playing and be like, "All right, let's go, guys. Let's play this. Let's have a fun party time." And
Yeah, it's
they
it's
just
kind of
oh, go on.
sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say I'm just gonna be like if we played it as a party game, it would not be fun for everyone else.
I don't think it would. I mean, there's been a couple of situations when we've put the code out to like chat when we've been playing it on Twitch, and like we've
Yeah,
had people join, and we've like. I don't mean this to brag. It's not a brag. It's actually quite sad because it just shows that we've played the game too much. But we both have to like tone down our game a little bit when there's someone new because we'll just clock that they're the imposter immediately, but we'll like let them play for a bit first because um, we
yeah.
we're just
I
sad. That's what it is.
I kind of did that to Bailey on her first game because she got imposter the first game, and I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Bailey, guys. And you guys were all like, why? And I was like, no, it's okay, we'll skip. But there was only like 4 of us left, and we were all just bundled in a group. But I don't know. It's a fun time.
You have to learn not to walk suspiciously, don't you? I think I mentioned that on one of the like maybe last Thursday when we did that stream. I think I mentioned that that was like the hardest thing for me to get used to. Is like when you're an imposter, you can't look like you're wandering aimlessly because imposters always have a task to do. They always have somewhere to be or someone they want to group up with. So like
Mm.
that's the biggest thing you can do to look suspicious if you're like new to being an imposter is you will kind of not know which way you want to go and you might like turn around and go back the other way because you're looking for a victim and you can't make it look like you're looking for a victim.
Yeah, I mean, what I do is I just do the same thing every round. Whether I'm crewmate or imposter, I do no tasks and walk around in circles and follow people. Can't be suspicious then.
That is a clever move, that, because like it is hard. It's quite hard to figure you out. I've gotten to the point where usually I do figure you out most games where you're imposter, but it's always too late. It's always at a point where
Yeah, I'm always confident I can kill you at that point because I always do.
Yeah.
I'll leave you to like last, or if you figure it out too early, I'll kill you first.
there's been a few times when I've like figured it out really early on, but I don't want to say it without like having really good proof because sometimes if you call a meeting and you call someone out and you don't have good enough proof, you get voted off. So I've had quite a few games like that where I've known
Yeah.
it's you but not had solid proof. So
That's the thing.
frustrating.
You do need to get good proof on people, or you can just be really spicy and hit the button. And I do like getting spicy.
Yeah, it's quite fun to be spicy occasionally, to be fair.
But yeah. What else have you been playing this week, Tef? Anything else, or is it just Halo?
I think that's really it. Yeah. I did take a few days away from gaming really because I did have that migraine sort of thing.
Mm.
It just kind of put me off wanting to play anything really, except Among Us. Like, it was weird. Like Among Us was fine because that's a mobile game blown up to a big screen. So like that was like kind of easy on my eyes. Playing anything on a TV was like the distance was just like killing my eyes. 'Cause my eyes aren't great anyway, but because I had a migraine, anything that required my eyes to focus on anything, I was just like, ugh. So
Yeah, I can imagine
I've
reading text in Yakuza. You're like,
yeah, exactly. That's it. That's why I couldn't play Yakuza. And now that it's a JRPG, there's loads of menus with like lot of little text all scattered all over the screen, and like I just couldn't handle it with how my head was at the time. So I stuck to Among Us and a little bit of Halo, which was a bit better because that's on PC. So the screen's like this close to your face, you're fine.
yeah. Well, I mean, as for myself, what have I been playing this week? Well, I played a couple of indie games last night, which was a lot of fun. I meant to play a few more, but I got really carried away with one of them. So I played one game called Longhouse. That's Long Haus.
Right. Okay.
And this was like it felt like I was kind of playing an RTS because what it is you get different randomly generated sort of maps, and how the game works is you've got to slowly build up this town, and as you're building up the town, you get invaded constantly. So the invasions will start off kind of easy, but they don't really stop. They don't give you much downtime in between, and they just keep coming, and eventually, it gets to the point where if you've not built fast enough or built optimally enough, you end up at a stalemate, and eventually they'll just slowly whittle you down. And it was a lot of fun. I got really I don't know, invested in it, I suppose. I was just spending so much time in it, like I gotta get this right. Oh, but
That's such a simple idea, actually. I guess it's kind of just a more free-form version of the tower defense, but it looks really cool. Actually, I'm looking at it right now. I think that will be really addictive. I can see why you got pulled into that.
Yeah. And how the resources work in that game is it's kind of like Civ, and you have to build your stuff in the right place. So if you'll see there's like wheat fields and stuff. If you build a farm around 4 tiles that are fields, you'll get more food from there, and the more food you have means more villagers that you can train to put on the farms and stuff. And then you also have the forests where you can put your lumber mills to get more logs, and there's also hills where you can get some mines down to get more mountains. And again, the more adjacent tiles you have that are the equivalent to that, the more resources you'll produce at once.
Yeah, it's very Civ inspired, definitely.
But while you're doing that, you also need to be very quick on throwing down defenses and stuff in the right places, and over time you can like research more stuff. Each each village that you build is like an individual mission, and you'll have like a few objectives, and then once you complete the objectives, you're done with that mission, and then you'll get research points to put into your defense towers, which you can then upgrade, and then you go on to like the next level. So there were like 4 levels. I only got up to like the 3rd one because they have these modifiers on them as well. So certain levels will have like reduced durability on your towers and stuff, and then reduced like harvest and stuff like that. So it's got different modifiers, and they are a little randomly generated, so each time you go in it's slightly different where the resources spawn and stuff like that. So it was kind of addictive. I had a lot of fun with it.
That is very cool. So is it like is it a demo for something they're planning to make into a full game, or is it just a
Yeah.
little project?
So it's a demo for something they're planning to make into a full game, which
Right.
it's very simplistic. It's a very simple idea. I do wish there was a little bit more complexity to it, because there's only a few
Yeah,
things you can build.
I was just thinking, I'm not sure how it's going to scale up. I
Yeah.
guess they could just change the kind of map that you're dealing with, or limit what types of buildings you can use and stuff like that. It would be doable. It's just making it interesting for more than about 5 or 10 hours is potentially the
Yeah.
tough part there. But yeah,
I mean, you can get a good
it is
4 hours out of it and be like, this was a fun experience, but I feel like eventually it will wear down.
Yeah, see that's kind of how it is with tower defense games, isn't it? I really enjoy tower defense games, up until a point, and then I've had my fill, and then I just drop off them. Then
Yeah, my only issues I had with the game was the way you have to assign villages to different places. So even the defenses you need to assign people to. So you have to take people off like farms and stuff to put them on defense when stuff like that happens. So you have to like micromanage all of that. But to do that, you have to go over to the tower, click on it, and then a little thing will pop down below it with 3, 2, 1, 0. That's the amount of villages you can have on it, and then you have to click on 0 and then go back to the other one and click 3. And I wish that was just like hotkeyed or something, just because it feels a little slow and tedious to do that.
yeah, it does sound a bit awkward. That's one of those things that'll get brushed up. It is like only an itch.io demo, I suppose.
Yeah, it was a very slick demo though, very well put together, and I had a really good time. Yeah. The other game that I played that also looked very nice was a game called Soul Delivery, which has this really nice art style and has this really interesting world and concept. So I think it's like some futuristic, but it's not San Francisco. It's called SF, and they're on a different world. They're not on Earth, and they're all robots, and humans have disappeared. They're not on the planet, and no one really wants to talk about it. No one wants to talk about why, but all the robots are living like humans. Like, they'll eat food even though they don't need to and stuff. And I don't really know what's going on, but you do see a human at one point, like, sort of warp in. And it's this little girl, and then she runs into an area, and you don't really see her again for the rest of the demo. But the idea behind it is you go around, you get given a package to deliver, and this is just the prologue. And then you go along and you're not told who the recipient is, so you have to go along and talk to people in town, which is how you find out, where you gotta go and a bunch of information about the world. And then eventually you get to... You actually get a side quest to give a battery to someone on the other side of town. So you take that over there, and then they give you a module to push stuff, so then you can push a block, and then it's how you activate a lift that's later on in the level. And then when you get on that and head on up, you talk to like this overseer guy of the town who then gets hacked or something. Because when he analyzes your package, he's like, whoa, hold on, hand that over right now. And then he gets hacked, and it's like, oh, never mind, you're all good. And there's like this whole other side that goes on, so where you actually have to deliver the packages to the other side, which you have to take a lift to, but all the lifts are being deactivated by the one guy that's on the other side. So to get there instead, you have to use the Soul Machine. So the Soul Machine is this like weird beam thing that you come up over to, and it moves your soul to a different robot shell. So
okay.
So it takes you to it takes you to a robot shell in the other side, That's what they call it. And you go talk to the guy there, and he's like, "Oh hey, you had the package for me. Oh cool. What do you mean you left it?" And then you have to run down to the lift. He activates it. You go down, and you get there. And when you arrive at your shell, someone's soul then gets put into your shell, and then a spaceship comes along and then takes that away. So it takes your old shell with someone different in it, and the package, and that's where the prologue ends.
Okay. I'm already hooked into this story. This sounds really like, I don't know, gripping. I want to try this now.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It doesn't show off any like puzzle mechanics. It's got like the one push puzzle, which isn't really a puzzle. You know it's pushable. You get there and you just push it on the button, and then you've got to go up top, and there's a bunch of like a robot gang hanging out, and you're like, hey, can you help me out with this? And he's like, you know what? Let's show him how to activate this lift, boys. And he rolls it up and stands on it. He's like, yeah, and that's how you do it. It's like, okay. But no, it's really interesting. I don't know what's going on with the soul stuff. Maybe they're all actually humans whose souls have been put into robots. I don't know. But yeah, I want to see more of it. I hope there's more puzzle mechanics. I really hope there's a lot more to it, because this was just the prologue, so I assume it'll get more in depth later. And it does mention how you will swap between different robot shells to do different things in the game. So I assume they have different abilities.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But no, that was really fun. And again, had a really cool art style. And all the sound design stuff was really nice. It was good. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else we've played. What else have I played this week? Arcade. I played a lot of Arcade, guys.
Oh, son of that. Are you still leveling your ult on that?
Yeah, I've been hopping on her occasionally as well.
Just gonna say, hey.
Okay.
That's a bit up. You weren't playing the ult when I've been dropping in, but I know like you have been jumping between the two.
Yeah, I swap between the two, but I'm having fun doing that, and yeah, I don't remember if I've not really done anything that interesting in Arcade. Just doing the usual stuff. Yeah, anything else? I feel like there was one more thing that I played, but I can't really remember. I played Super Mario Bros. For whatever reason. I just decided, you know what, I'll do a run of Super Mario Bros.
Just the first one?
Yeah, the first one.
OG? Huh, fair enough. Never played that. Not really that big into 2D Mario, honestly. I can take it or leave it.
I mean, it only takes like 20 minutes to run through, if that.
Yeah,
so I was just like,
did you use the warp pipes?
I use the warp pipes. Come on.
Yeah, see, there you go. Then 20 minutes tops.
So I just ran through that, and yeah, I was on my Switch, so I was just like messing around with the NES on there.
Oh yeah.
So I played a little bit of that, and then I noticed they also had Mario Brothers on there, just the original Mario Bros, which is the pipe game. Well,
yeah, the arcade game.
Yeah, which I had on the NES as well. Actually, I forgot that I used to play that. The 2-player on that was fun.
Yeah, I had that. My first experience of Mario really was I had one of those Super Mario Advance games on the Game Boy Advance. They were all really awkwardly named because it was like Super Mario Advance was a series, but each one was a different port of like a classic Super Mario Brothers game. So the fourth Mario Advance is a port of Mario 3, which means that it's called Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Brothers 3. But I had the one that had Mario World on it. I can't remember which one it is. I'm trying to look up. Yeah, okay. So I had Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2. Which is my first taste of Mario. And like a mainline Mario anyway. I probably played the spin-off games, before then. But this is my first like proper Mario game growing up. Had that on my Game Boy Advance, and I loved it. I still love Mario World. It's the only 2D Mario I really enjoy, honestly. It's the only one where I like the controls. I know this is kind of blasphemy, but in Mario 1 and Mario 3, he's really slippy, and it drives me mad.
He is a slippy boy.
But he's a very slippy boy. Yeah, the only reason I
How he
brought
gets
that
down the
up,
pipes.
He's got to oil up, grease up
Yeah.
before he goes down. That explains a lot, actually. There you go. There's the canon for why Mario is such a slippy boy. But I only bring that up because I think every version of Mario Advance came with it came with Mario Bros as well, like the arcade game. So I
Mm.
did play that on there too. I think the idea of that was you're meant to, connect with a link cable and have someone else play as Luigi, because I think that game's always really been intended for two people to play.
Mm. Yeah, that was. I remember playing, like, I saw it on there and I was like, I forgot that I used to play this on the NES. Because when I think of the NES, I always think of Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers, but I always forget about that because I also had that.
Oh,
But yeah.
no, I was a Mega Drive child.
Yeah, I mean, I probably shouldn't have been a NES child, but
You really shouldn't have been. You were very late to that game.
Yeah. But I just had one lying around, so that's what I used to play on.
To be fair, it probably came out fairly late in Europe. To be fair, let's see.
I
No,
don't think
hang
it
on,
came out that late.
1986. No, so it still came out 9 years before you were born. Probably shouldn't have had one. I thought I
Eh.
was late with the Mega Drive, honestly, but whatever.
Well, you know what? I got to experience the good old Duck Hunts, which you can't really play now.
No, you can't. No, can't experience that anymore unless you got a CRT telly,
Mm.
which you probably don't.
Yeah, it was such a fun time to just be a kid and hold the gun right up to the screen and just be like, I'm so good at this game.
I never had that experience. I never had a zapper gun game, like a light gun game at
Mm.
home. I've only ever played them in the arcades, like the classic Time Crisis with the pedal, and you press the pedal to crouch.
Yeah. I don't know. I have this whenever I play any arcade game like that, for some reason I always duck when I hit the pedal at the same time.
Yeah,
It's just a habit. I don't know why.
I've got it built into my head from too much time spent playing House of the Dead in arcades. I always shoot off screen to reload. So when I'm playing a light gun game where that doesn't work, it just messes me up because I do it automatically and I can't adjust to fix it. But because I think there's certain games where you've got a shotgun and you have to like cock the shotgun to reload, but I can't. I just don't. I just shoot off screen and
Yeah.
then I die and I don't understand why. Too much House of the Dead back in the day.
The ones where you have to cock the gun feel good though, you know?
I do.
It's very satisfying.
It's very satisfying. Haptic feedback before it was cool, guys.
We've not really played any arcade games this week though, have we?
No, I really want to.
Yeah, it'd be great to just have an arcade machine. I don't know what I'd have on. What would be the ideal arcade machine game to have? Ooh.
I see. I would just want a Ridge Racer cabinet, but that's just me. Actually, I say that I really enjoy Ridge Racer, but I last year I went to the arcade club in Leeds. I don't know if you've heard of it. Um,
Never had a
there's one in
Leeds.
Leeds, one in Manchester. Oh, very funny. Uh, so this is like there's a couple of arcades around the north of England. They're quite like famous in like the retro gaming community, but I know that's not really your scene. Basically, these guys get they get proper old original arcade equipment. Like there's arcades popping up everywhere at the moment, but most of them are just really badly emulated machines. I
Yeah.
went into one where it was emulating Sonic the Hedgehog, and it was doing it. It was doing it badly. Like it was lagging. It was
Oh
like
no.
20 frames per second. Sonic, it couldn't. I don't know what equipment they were using that couldn't emulate a Mega Drive, but there you go. Um, but like this is a arcade club anyway. They're the real deal. They've got some proper old school, like even going back to like the 70s, proper arcade equipment. And I went there last year, and they had a Ridge Racer cabinet, and I was so hyped to play it because I love Ridge Racer, and I played a whole bunch of it while I was there. I played it for like an hour straight. Didn't let anyone else on it. Didn't like the cabinet though. The cabinet
Oh.
was awful. It felt so cheap. And for some reason, the pedals were just like two tiny little flimsy metal things that didn't really have springs behind them. So you just like slightly tapped them, and the pedals went all the way in.
Oh.
And they were right next to each other, and they felt exactly the same, and there was no gap between them. And I was wearing like really big, thick boots, so I kept putting my foot on the brake and the accelerator at the same time. It was awful.
Uh.
Um, And so I spent like loads of time on that, and I was really disappointed. And then I went over and went on the Outrun machine, and I'm just going to check now. Ridge Racer came out in 1993. Outrun came out in 86. So that's a big difference there. Huge time
Mm.
scale between them, especially at the time with how quick technology was moving at the time. And Outrun is not even like Ridge Racer's 3D. Outrun is a 2D game that just uses some like trickery to make it look 3D. Um, the cabinet was so much better. It felt like a real car, and it's kitted out to look like the Ferrari Testarossa from Outrun, which just feels so cool. And and like when you turn corners, the car banks, and when you brake, it like vibrates, like you can feel
Oh,
the brakes like
oh
locking
yes,
in.
that feels
And
good.
yeah, like it felt so good. The cabinet was incredible, and I had so much fun with Outrun, but I was so disappointed in Ridge Racer because I love that game, but the cabinet was just dreadful. And I've played so much of this arcade game. I've played the home console versions for hundreds of hours, and I always assumed that it being an arcade game, I thought it would be more fun to play in an arcade. It's not. It's not. It's way worse.
Well, I mean, that's a shame. At least, you know what? At least you got to play it in an arcade and, have that
Mm.
experience and be like,
I still
yeah.
played like an hour of it. I had
You
a
still
face on
played
the
an
whole
hour.
time, but I still played. I got on the leaderboards just because I felt like I needed to.
You needed to just make your mark.
I ended up like playing with my feet on like one foot on each pedal, so I didn't accidentally stand on both. I had to play it that way,
Mm.
which is very dangerous when you actually drive. But it's fine. It's fine. Did that anyway. It's actually Ridge Racer's way harder in an arcade machine, bizarrely, because of the controls. Bearing in mind the controls would have been made with arcade cabinets in mind originally. It's actually really hard to pull off a drift in Ridge Racer on a cabinet, because the way it works in Ridge Racer is when you come up to a corner, you hit the brake very quickly, like you tap the brake and then you start accelerating again, and it kicks out the back end, and you drift into the corner. Um, you try doing that on with your feet in like an actual car like cabinet, like especially when I couldn't figure out where each pedal was with the massive boots on. Like you have to quickly move your foot over to the brake, tap it lightly, and then really quickly move your foot back over and back onto the accelerator. And it's so hard when it's just like it's just holding X and then a quick tap of square and then back to X on a pad. It's so easy on a controller.
Yeah. That does sound kind of rough. I'm like, I've not actually played a ton of Ridge Racer. I think I played a little bit of it, but it wasn't like my go-to. I'm trying to think what my go-to was. What would I? Ooh, I feel like light gun games were my go-tos. Like I just, House of the Dead was one that I jump on as well.
That's a really good game.
Yeah, but I want to go to an arcade now. It's a shame we really can't.
Oh man. Well, when things reopen, we should go. Should go
Yeah,
to arcade club. It's so much fun.
I'd be down. I'd be down for a bit of that. I also just
We,
remembered that
we were,
Oh, go on. I'll let you
I was
finish
just gonna say
first.
I was there from like open till close. I was there until like 11 o'clock at night when they kicked us out, and I played like hours of Ridge Racer and hours of Outrun, Mortal Kombat, Taiko, which I is a game that I'm quite addicted to. That I don't think I've ever mentioned to you, and I've got a friend who's insanely good at it. It's a rhythm game, a Japanese rhythm game,
Oh,
with drums. So you've just
okay.
got one drum, and it's one of those games that's like really simple, really easy to play, but really hard to master. You know the type. So
Mm.
there's basically only two different types of notes to hit. There's like you hit the middle of the drum and you hit the edge of the drum. That's it, two notes. So compared to something like Guitar Hero, it's really simplistic. But my God, you put that game on hard difficulty and it's insane. it's it's just you've got a drum so ridiculously fast. It's really fun to play in an arcade. So I played a
Yeah,
bunch of that.
I feel like rhythm games are a ton of fun at arcades as well.
Yeah. So I've got that on Switch and I play it with a controller. It's actually fun enough with a controller. And you can get like a drum kit for console versions, but they're kind of crap because they're not weighed down. So as you're hitting the drum, it slides away from you.
Oh,
um, so yeah, so the way to play it in an arcade, and I've played it in the arcade club. I played it when I was in Japan, I went to Akihabara and I went into one of the Sega arcades there and I played Taiko, and I thought I was doing really well, but a Japanese person actually tutted as they walked past because I'm not even close to playing Asian levels at that game.
Oh, I could just. I thought you were gonna say after you got off, some Japanese man just came up and just was like, "Harry," just cracked his knuckles and just.
I mean, that happened too.
Okay. You just got to watch in disbelief as your score just got absolutely tanked.
Honestly, there was actually one guy who I get the impression that he was taking like this girl on a first date, and he took her to the arcade and just showed her how good he was at Taiko, and you could tell she was genuinely impressed. She was just like,
What a guy.
"What an absolute alpha male!"
And you're just, oh, you must have felt like an absolute beta watching him play. Oh.
Oh man, yeah, I'm Japanese people in rhythm games. It's a hell of a combo.
God, I haven't played a rhythm game in ages. I miss Guitar Hero, you know?
Yeah, man. They ran that into the ground, sadly.
They really did. With that yearly releases of Guitar Hero, and then you had Rock Band as well. Ooh, it was a rough time. But yeah, I realized I also played a little bit more on Switch. Like I gave a little bit of Control a go on the Switch because there was like a cloud version of Control. I was looking through and there was like, why is Control free on the Switch? It turned out it was just like a time demo thing.
Okay.
But it was like a cloud. There was like a cloud service version of it, so it wasn't. So I don't think that the Switch could run the full game or something. So they had to have part of the game be a cloud service and have it streamed to your Switch, which was really weird.
Very weird. I'm seeing this now. Yeah, I've got this.
Yeah.
Up. That's really weird. Huh.
It was fine. Like it worked fine for me, but it was. I just thought I would bring it up because it was a really strange thing. I was like, it's odd that they couldn't optimize that for the Switch, and they had to be like, you can stream it, guys.
Yeah, that's very odd. I've not played Control. What was it like?
It was fun. Well, I say fun. It's got a really interesting world. I'll say that. It's
Yeah.
I mean, it is by the same Alan Wake people, so it's
Yes,
a very. It's got
that's
like
true.
the mysterious like psychological stuff going on. It's a very strange world that you're in, and there's a lot going on. I got nowhere in the game because it was like a time demo, so I didn't get that far through. But it was just, I don't know, there was a lot going on, and it was interesting. So I might want to pick that up at some point, give it a proper go. Probably not the cloud version though.
No, probably not. That's not a good idea. It's a lot of people rave about that game. I don't know if it's for me, but yeah, there must be something special about it.
Yeah, I think they were doing like a crossover thing with Alan Wake as well as like a DLC. I think they're all like in a connected world. There's a ton of stuff going on with it. I don't know. I didn't get super into Alan Wake either, so I feel like I missed out with that maybe because a lot of people really liked Alan Wake too.
I actually finished Alan Wake, and I thought it was incredibly average. I'm surprised I finished it, honestly.
Yeah, I thought from what I heard, it had a very interesting story according to people, but I don't know.
It was okay. It was very tropey. The whole thing is basically one big homage to, Stephen King style horror. And with it leaning so much on that genre, it did just feel a bit generic.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, I think that's all I played. I'm sure there's like one other thing at the back of my head that I'm just not remembering. I was like looking around on the Switch store because I was like, I kind of want to pick up a game. I half want to pick up Bayonetta 2 and play through Bayonetta, but then I'm like, I could also get Animal Crossing, but I feel like I missed Animal Crossing. I feel like I missed the moment when that was a good time to play.
Yeah, I mean, you would still have fun, but
Yeah.
you certainly wouldn't have quite as much as you would have done in March. There's a lot of good games on the Switch, though. There are so many. You're a bit spoiled there, really.
Yeah, so I just didn't know what to get, and I was like, could get that, and then also I'm like, I kind of want to get Yakuza as well. Maybe I'll pick up Yakuza because I really want to play 1 and 2. It's very tempting. Kiwami 2 is actually on the Humble bundle right now.
It is.
But 1 isn't, and that upsets me. And I was like,
they've had 1. Humble have had 1 on sale a lot. That's why I think you missed your chance there, Paul.
So I was like looking at it like, do I pick that up and then just buy 1? Because you get a bunch more games, because I think it was on the Humble Monthly. So I could have got that and the other game probably for the same price as getting just Yakuza 2 on its own on Steam, because I think I would have got like 8 games on the Humble Monthly or something. I think you get 9 actually. There's 9 on the Humble Monthly, and that would have been the same price as Yakuza on Steam probably. Unless I were to pick it up from less reputable sites.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe not, pal. Oh, come on sale soon anyway. Black Friday's coming up, don't forget. You'll get your chance.
I will get my chance. I'm just going to have to wait. Just going to have to sit tight. I'll get it eventually. And then Cyberpunk is right around the corner.
It is. That's true.
And I'm gonna try and run it on my machine. I don't know how well it will run, but Witcher 3 was very optimized when it launched. So I got my hopes high. If it doesn't, I'll just refund it and I'll be like, I'll get it later down the line.
I think it'll be scalable.
Yeah. We'll see. I might not be able to stream it though, which is fine by me. It's one of those games where I'll spend my free time playing it and chilling.
Yeah, it's quite long for a stream anyway, I imagine.
I would be streaming it. Like, it'd have to take over the arcade slot, which, you know, I don't know. I could do that. I could.
I could do it. It wouldn't be wise, but I could do it.
Yeah, but I'll have to wait for that. So until that comes around, then I can say, yep, this is a genre-defining game. It's going to be Game of the Year. Well, next year, because it can't be Game of the Year this year at this point.
I guess so, actually, yeah.
Everyone's already given away their Game of the Year awards. Everyone's got the nominations. So we'll see it next year. You know what? I'd be okay with giving it to Animal Crossing. I'm trying to think what other games came out this year.
Mine probably genuinely is Master Chief Collection, which feels cheap because they're not really new games.
Yeah, I'm sure there was some really good games that came out this year, but I've just forgotten they came out this year, and it feels like last year. I get that with a lot of games.
It's kind of been that type of year too. Crusader Kings 3 came out this year. That's a very good game.
Oh, it did. That was a lot of fun. I need to play that more. I've not played it in a while.
We should play more of that.
Yeah, that was a good time. Yeah, I can't think of other games. Maybe we should do I'd say we could do like a Game of the Year podcast at the end of the year, but I feel like we wouldn't. Or like do our top 10 or something of the year, but I feel like we've not really played that many games this year that I know. I haven't, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe not. I'm thinking of games we played together. Like, I guess Valorant we played together. But yeah, if we top 10
Valorant
games
was this year, right?
It was this year, yeah. We'd end up with games that we've just played, not necessarily that are our favorite, because you've probably only played like 10 new games this year anyway. Well, I think you probably have anyway. You play a lot less new games than I do. I do tend to jump from game to game. I'm awful for finishing games. I very rarely finish a game. So I've played a lot, but I don't know about favorites. Only a few really jump out to me.
Was Devil May Cry 5 this year, or was that last year? I feel like that was last year.
No idea.
I don't.
2019.
Yeah,
March
it was
2019.
Okay, it was definitely last year. Wait, when did it come out on PC though? Was that the same time?
March 2019.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. This is what I mean. I feel like I just have games that I'm like, was it this year? I do this. I feel like I do this with games every year, though. It's not just like this year specifically with everything going on. I feel like I get to like December and then I'm like, did that game come out this year? There's like Doom Eternal was this year, I think, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay, just double checking that one. Yeah, because that was around the same time as Animal Crossing because there were the memes.
It was. Yes.
Okay. That's how I can keep track of that.
Yeah. I usually don't have many favorite games to pick from, because I tend to play games. I play I play a lot of games way after they come out, like where I
Mm.
kind of go like that looks interesting, but I'll come back to it. Or sometimes I buy it and don't really get into it for a while. Which actually happened to Yakuza Zero. I bought it like 6 months
Oh.
before it really clicked with me. But do have being a bit of a retro gaming nerd and a bit of a boomer. I do tend to sometimes just play a bunch of old games, and sometimes my game of the year will be an old game that I've played for the first time, and that'll be my game of the year because it's the new experience to me. It didn't come out this year, so
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to do that 1 year, maybe. I say 1 year, like we're going to be doing this podcast in another year's time. Who knows? Who knows how long this will last?
sounds like you're planning to get rid of me, pal. You got plans for someone else?
Well, I've been talking to Zalt,
Good joke.
Yeah, I mean,
That's genuinely really funny. Ah, Zolt.
that's how you know the plan's not going to follow through. All right, I think we should go take a quick 10-minute break anyway, and we'll come back with the gaming news. So don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back after this short commercial break. And we're back. Welcome back, everyone. Tef was just playing his rhythm game when I got back from from making my tea.
I'm like addicted even just mentioning it. I needed to get my fix in.
That's okay. You know what? I'll allow it. It was only a short song, I'm sure.
I was halfway through it when you got back, to be fair. Yeah, Taiko no Tatsugen. Go play it if you like rhythm games. It's quality.
Some people might need that spelled out, but that's fine.
So news.
Yeah, we got a little bit going on this week. It's kind of Ubisoft heavy this week. A little bit of Ubisoft.
It is actually. Yeah, well, they've been kind of busy. To be fair, releasing a lot of new games
Mm.
and making a lot of mistakes, as per usual.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that. But before we do, should we talk a bit more about console launches, specifically Yodel?
Yeah, so this is what I wanted to bring up, just because it's funny. It's quite UK centric, but it's just a good yarn, good story. It's just funny. Well, it's more that it's dramatic, and we here at the AlphaCast, we like a bit of drama, we like a bit of beef. So we're gonna get some spicy beef. To start our news section.
Beef. No, we would never.
Oh,
I'm more of a chicken guy. Red meat's bad for you after all.
You are a chicken. Much like Yodel, not owning up to the mistakes. So,
okay.
So here in the UK, Game, who is like kind of like our equivalent of GameStop, they're just called Game, which is kind of confusing. They obviously had loads of pre-orders for the PS5 and needed to get them delivered to people on launch day. They used a courier service called Yodel. I don't know if they're a thing in other countries. I've got no idea. They're not a particularly big one here, but for some reason, Game decided to go with them. And they just didn't deliver them in time. A lot of people got their consoles a day late, and the Game came out and like publicly apologized and went, "Well, nothing that we could have done. No, it was Yodel's fault. Sorry about that, guys. But live and learn. Won't use Yodel again," sort of thing. And Yodel have like clapped back, releasing their own statements, saying like, "Hell no, this is not our fault. This has got nothing to do with us. They were never delivered to us by Game suppliers never actually told us how to collect the PlayStations. It's not our fault, and it's just caused a bit of beef, which is great fun, and it's something that I needed in my time of need with effing chat for my PS5 alone and sad somewhere in a stock room.
It's very sad. Yodel won't be taking that anywhere.
No, they most certainly won't, sadly. No. Neither will any other courier service. But so yeah, there isn't much in terms of news. It's just if you need a laugh, go and look this up. Go on Twitter. Twitter just had a field day with it. Everyone just thought it was really funny. It was trending on Twitter for like 2 days straight, just as it unfolded, basically, because it was just two companies just firing shots at each other, just pew, pew, both
I mean,
ways.
I'm curious whose fault it actually was. I feel like it wouldn't surprise me if it was Game's fault and they were just like, it was y'all guys, nothing to do with us.
Yeah, I mean, Game are absolutely scummy. So I would not be surprised at all, honestly. But the Yodel don't have the best rep either, so it could go either way.
Yeah.
I don't even care about the actual drama though. It's just a funny story. There's something really funny about two professional companies just basically having at it over Twitter. Great.
I feel like that's a lot of companies now, actually. We're getting to the point where it's just companies just fighting back and forth on Twitter. I mean, fast food is the big one. They're all in on that.
Yes, that's true. Well, they're kind of like joke accounts, to be fair. They
Yeah.
they don't actually have a go at each other like what's happening here. This is something special and deserves to be treasured.
Yeah, I just there was probably incompetence on both sides, and it's just amusing. So
Probably. I mean, there's been incompetence anyway. They shouldn't have been airing their dirty laundry in the public, but I'm glad they did because it's funny. It's fucking hilarious when companies do this.
yeah, I mean the whole console launches are always a mess, but this year especially, it's been wild.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's been a tough one with COVID and everything.
Hmm.
Uh, who knows when I'll see a PlayStation 5 now? If the rumors are to be believed, it could be February, March, even April.
Maybe they'll actually have a
It's
black one by the time you can get one. Oh,
I actually saw some promotional material a couple of days ago, and it hurt me to my core because it actually showed the full transition. It started with the PlayStation cloaked in darkness, where it looks black. When it's like in that dark lighting that they've been using for the market materials, it looks black. But then they had the lights slowly come on, and you could see that it was white all along. And I was like, "Don't do this to me."
oh, I'm never letting that one go. It's always gonna come back.
No,
Oh.
laugh it up. One day I'll have my black PS5.
Just paint it. Job's a good one.
I'm actually quite glad that I didn't get one because it seems like a lot of these launch ones have problems.
Mm.
Like I, I was at first I didn't really believe any of that because this happens every console launch. The few bad, the few bad consoles at the start are the ones that get picked up by the press, and it's a vocal minority issue where it seems like it's a bigger problem than it is. But I have noticed that there's a lot of problems with the PS5 being reported, proportionally a lot more on the PS5 than there is with the Xbox. Um, and a lot of it is to do with noise or fans or thermals, and
I saw
apparently the
something
whole
about noise. Yeah, like a weird
thing.
hissing that everyone was getting as well.
Well, it's got coil wine, which is stupid. That's just console noobs not really understanding what coil wine is, because you didn't really get it so much on the other consoles. But it's normal to on a high-end graphics card to have coil wine. Like anyone who's got a PC will know that like a high-end graphics card does have that whining sound, and that's normal. That's just the transistors doing their work. The PS4 doesn't really do it, but that's because even when it came out, it was a low to mid-range graphics card in there anyway. So the coil wine thing is stupid, but there is
Mm.
another known issue where a lot of these launch PlayStations, they've got a sticker which is very very close to the fan, and it comes loose. Um, for a lot of people already, it's come loose, and it comes loose and sort of flaps back and into the fan. So you can imagine the noise that makes when the fan's turning.
Yeah, I
And the
can imagine
fan,
a person having a heart attack when that happens, being like, "Oh, what's going on?"
yeah, apparently it's really loud, and you've got to remember that at this
Yeah.
point, so early on in the console's lifespan, the fans aren't even turning particularly quickly. Later on, later on, when they're clogged up with dust and we're getting games that are really pushing the console, those fans are going to be spinning a lot faster and it's going to be so loud. The only way to fix that is to go in there and glue the sticker back on yourself. But to do that, you've got to get into the fan. You've got to break the warranty seal. So well done there. So I'm kind of a little bit glad because it's a lot of money to be spending on something which may just kind of overheat and crap itself pretty quickly. And I do have a launch PS4, which sounds like an absolute jet engine these days. I don't even use it
Yeah, I've
anymore.
still got it.
Luckily, my partner's got a slim one now, which makes it still makes quite a lot of noise, but it's not quite close to what my launch PS4 makes. I can't even hear the game of my launch PS4 most of the time. It's dreadful, and that was
Oh,
silent when I first got it, but it's really really loud now. It vibrates, which is the problem. It makes whatever cabinet it's on, it'll make the wood shake, and this
oh,
vibration effect makes it seem so much louder. And I've tried putting padding down, and nothing works.
yeah.
Just can't. Right.
I've not I don't really remember what the PS4 sounded like on launch. I didn't use it that much. Again, I was like, I was a Bloodborne boy. I played a bunch of Bloodborne on it. Played Knack. Didn't really touch it again. Made sure to get Knack in there. Mostly because my console came with it, which was very sad. I had to look at Knack and be like, I guess I'll play you. Mr. Toblerone, man.
Man, there was a solid year after the PlayStation 4's launch where there was no good games. I got it on launch, and I swear I didn't touch it for the first year. I got Killzone Shadowfall on launch, which was just
Yeah.
it's just the Halo version of Knack. It's crap. So I played a bit of that and sold it, and I just didn't touch my PlayStation for ages. Weirdly, I think the first game that really got my attention on the PS4 wasn't even really a PS4 game. It was when they started porting the remake of Resident Evil 1, the GameCube version. They
Oh.
finally, literally, I had just bought a GameCube. I finally had a GameCube and I could finally play that because I'd always wanted to play that game. And as soon as I bought a GameCube, they announced that they were going to be porting it to the PS4. So then I just waited anyway and got it on the PS4. Um, and that's the first game. That and Rayman Legends are the two games I remember first really getting into on the PS4, and they came out like a year after the PlayStation launch. So
Yeah, the only one I really played was Bloodborne, and after that there wasn't really any games that I was interested in for ages, and by the time those games came around, I think I was just more invested in streaming or something at the time. So I just didn't, like, I don't play console games because I can't stream them, so that's just how I am. Though I would like to just, I don't know, maybe have a game for in my downtime to just play. I really, like, I missed out on, like, the Last Guardian and God of War and stuff like that. It would be nice to play those, which is kind of the reason I'd want a PS5, just because it has all those games available on their subscription service.
yeah, I was gonna say that'll be the logical way for you to get in and enjoy those games, and that's the premium way to enjoy the Last Guardian, especially because it doesn't run well on the PS4. But obviously, because the PS5, it's got a little bit of it's the beauty of that backwards compatibility. It does use some of the extra heft of the new consoles. So Last Guardian apparently runs at smooth 60, which is beautiful because it's very very stuttery on the PS4.
Yeah, I know a lot of people seem to have issues with The Last Guardian. Like, some people didn't like it for reasons, but I feel like I'll probably really enjoy it. Because, I mean, Eco and, like, Shadow of the Colossus was like... I mean, Shadow of the Colossus, I'd still say I'd put it in one of my favorite games. Honestly, I really enjoyed Eco. I'd put Eco pretty high up on my list of games that I probably wouldn't make the top 10, but, it's high up there, because I really enjoyed Eco.
Yeah, it's okay.
I mean, it might be in the way we played it, but it was a fun experience.
Yeah, I did. It's hard to separate those two things. But we did have a lot of fun, hell of a lot of fun playing that. I really enjoyed playing that on stream, to be fair.
Yeah.
Speaking of launch titles and consoles not coming with decent titles on launch, there's been a bit more news about Halo Infinite, hasn't there?
There has been a little bit more about Halo Infinite, and well, I don't know, what do we call it? News. It's like news that there will be news, guys.
Yeah, it is one of those kind of announcements of announcements. This is getting really awkward now with Halo Infinite. So
Mm.
they're basically they came out with a new blog post that basically said we don't have anything to show at the moment. And they said we can't wait to go into deep detail about the rich story and characters, to dive into exactly how customization and progression works and shows up visually in the multiplayer experience. That's a weird sentence. 20 seconds past that. And provide a detailed look at the incredible depth of content across the entire game. I wanted to
PR
actually,
statement.
yeah, but I wanted to quote that because I think it's funny that they listed such specific things like we want to show you the campaign and we want to show you the multiplayer and we want to show you the multiplayer customization, but we can't, which just makes me think, does this mean you don't have anything to show for any of that stuff yet? Like this game was nearly finished. At one point, not too long ago, it was at the end of its cycle. Um, how can you have nothing to show? This implies either that they are insanely behind or
Mm.
they've completely scrapped everything and they're starting from scratch, in which case we're not going to see this game for at least another 18 months to 2 years.
I don't think they've completely scrapped everything. They had like a really weird justification for why they couldn't show anything. What was the justification again? I'm trying to read through the article real quick.
I don't know. I don't remember seeing anything quite like that.
They had something being like we felt it wouldn't be fair, or something towards our dev team, or something like that.
Yeah, that's load o crap. But
Yeah.
Halo's in a really weird position.
Mm.
It's funny because this article that you sent mentions it, but it's definitely worth bringing up that despite the fact that Halo's been delayed, the marketing campaigns went ahead, which is really it's been angering some people, but it's also really funny in like in another way. Like, it's been bothering people because Halo Infinite Master Chief is on the back of the box for the new Xboxes.
Oh.
They were really banking on it on that being the launch title, and it's plastered across all the back of the box for both the Series S and the Series X, which is just really funny. But like it's
Mm.
it's been bothering people for some reason. I think that's funny, honestly. But that's just my
I didn't
sad
realize
sense.
they still put like games on the side of boxes. Like they put launch titles on there because they did that. They used to do that with really old consoles, like the N64. I remember you had like a bunch of different games on there on like the box, and I remember looking at them. You could like read descriptions of them. It was like, yeah, these games are really cool.
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah, that it is a very old-fashioned thing. They did used to actually advertise a lot of games on the back of the boxes. It's I remember like the Nintendo 64 and the PS1 actually had grids of like screenshots, and underneath it would say
Mm.
what game it was. It's not quite like that. It's more just they've got some general images from various Xbox
Yeah.
IPs, but sort of front and center, the largest image is Chief, and that is really awkward. It's obvious that he is meant to be the big cheese here, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
just not about. And they've even gone ahead with like promotional chocolate bars and stuff according to this article,
Ooh.
which is
What kind of
incredible.
chocolate bars?
I think it's just in the UK. Sorry, the US rather. It's
Oh, no dairy
Butterfinger. I
milk.
have no idea what that is. Um,
Butterfinger is. I've had one of them before. They taste like something, but I forgot what they taste like. I think they're like
Butter
Twixes,
maybe
maybe.
or fingers.
I think are they
They
like
look
Twixes?
they look a lot like Twixes actually.
But yeah, most American chocolate's mediocre anyway. But we're not here to talk about that.
No, no. But yeah, that Chief is currently he's currently the face of Butterfinger, which is very awkward. I've just noticed as well. I'm looking at it now, and I don't even think that's the Halo Infinite render of Chief. That looks like that's Chief from I don't know, unless it's a. In fact, that could be in. No, that is. Sorry, that is Halo Infinite Chief. It's his armor design from Infinite, but it's been re-rendered, and they've kind of taken away some of the cartoony shading. That's
Huh.
interesting.
Yeah,
I
I don't
can't.
know. I don't know
I
if they're
can't
gonna
wait to
change
see
the
what.
style of the game.
I don't think so either.
No. Yeah.
But that's interesting. We just don't know. We can speculate, but it's hard to tell when we don't even know what their plan is. We don't know how far back they're going. Like, how close to the drawing board are we going to get before they stop and go, right, we're going to restart rebuilding from this point? It's hard to tell.
Yeah. Quick tangent. I don't know. Is it just me, or that kind of gets put off when there's like gaming stuff on like food or like on a can? I'm just like, do I want to walk around with that? It's like,
Yeah.
it's got like a Call of Duty guy on the side, double XP weekend or double XP promotion code, and I'm like, I think I'll knock at that one. Yeah, it is Call of Duty all the time.
I've been during like all this COVID stuff this year. I've gotten like really lazy with lunches, and I just keep buying like instant noodles. And I was buying a bunch of super.
It was
noodles.
the Final Fantasy ones. I remember you sending.
Yeah. Yeah,
which
so
is
for like
bizarre.
6 months straight, it was Final Fantasy VII Remake. Until well after it had come out. And I will never forget that the beef flavor was Tifa, because I kept buying them, and just like every time I take them to the counter and giggle to myself as I'm scanning it, going, oh, Tifa beefer, Tifa beefer, every time. But like 2 weeks ago, they changed it, and now it's the new Black Ops, and now I don't want them anymore. Maybe I'm just a weeb, I don't know, but now I don't want to eat them anymore.
Well, Final Fantasy VII's good. Call of Duty is like, let's not play Call of Duty enough, okay? I know what Call of Duty does. I know what Final Fantasy VII does as well, to be fair, but you know, Call of Duty, I'm just like, this is what the casuals play. Can't be eating this.
Pro gamers.
Yes, I'll indulge in my fine JRPG noodles instead.
Yes, quiet. Wow, we're sad.
Listen, it was a bit of a tangent, but like, come on, stop, okay? I just want to enjoy my noodles without man with gun on the front.
Man with gun in this position.
Yeah, he's got to have his head down and looking up.
Yeah, he's got to be like, you can't see it, but I'm holding a gun.
Oh yeah.
He's always like, he's always like got one step towards the camera too, and it's literally been the same since Modern Warfare 1, which came out 13 years ago.
Another tangent. I really want to play the Final Fantasy VII remake. I've not played that yet, but I'm like, I also kind of want to wait for the other parts to be out, because there's going to be 3 parts, and that's going to take so long to come out.
You'll be waiting too long, pal. Just play it.
Yeah, I will be waiting a long time, and I might get spoiled. I might find out that maybe a certain character dies, which...
Oh no.
Oh no.
He'll tend the flowers.
Spoilers. Spoilers for a very old game.
Spoilers for a 23-year-old game.
It's been a while since I played the original Final Fantasy. I'm trying to think the last time I played it. Yeah, we actually spoke about it on the podcast when you played it.
I didn't play all of it. I probably only played like a third of it. It's
I can't wait for a vegetable cloud. That's going to be a good part of the game. I don't know what that'll be like in the remake.
Yeah, there are some things where I do wonder how they handled it. It's so goofy, Final Fantasy VII. Like, it takes itself so seriously, but the localization is so bad that it makes this really strange tone. It's got this proper whiplash tone where like really serious events are happening, but everyone just talks so stupidly. You can't take any of it seriously. It's glorious.
Yeah, I'm curious if I don't know, there'll be elements of Crisis Core and some of the other Final Fantasy VII media in the remake. Like, I don't know if Crisis Core was involved in the first game at all. In the first disc of... Well, I say the first game, it's not a disc. The first game of the remake.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Don't know enough about the whole extended universe, really. Should we get back to the news there, pal?
Yeah.
Quick tangent, and it's been quite a big one.
It has been. Should we talk about IO Interactive?
Yeah, let's do that.
Because
IO Interactive.
For those of you that don't know, they make the Hitman games, which are a lot of fun, and now they're making a Hitman game with her, otherwise known as James Bond.
This is really funny. I was listening to a podcast last week where, by strange coincidence, so one of the guys in this podcast, I can't even remember what it was, but I just specifically remember somebody saying Hitman is the best James Bond game that's ever been made, and now here we are. We're getting a James Bond Hitman game.
Yeah, I am down to play this. Like, I'm hoping it's good, because this could be really good if they incorporate elements of Hitman in there. I've not played a James Bond game that's been good in a long time.
I don't think we've had a good one since GoldenEye. They've been sort of mediocre to okay.
I feel like we had a good one on the PlayStation 1 or 2, maybe. I remember, what one was Nightfire? Was Nightfire?
Was PS2.
Yeah, I remember enjoying Nightfire.
Yeah, to be fair, that's yeah, people don't mind that one. To be fair, the only one I've played is GoldenEye. I don't really like Bond in general, honestly. I'd probably play a Hitman-inspired game now.
I mean, I don't mind. Like, I really like the old Bond films. They're super cheesy. I don't know. I like cheesy films, and I just think that they're a good popcorn movie. Throw them on. You're like, let's watch some Bond. Let's have a good time. I'm British.
I can totally understand that. I'm British. He's
I gotta
British.
watch.
Everyone's British.
I gotta watch this. I didn't really. I don't know. I kind of fell off when the Daniel Craig ones came out, even though Casino Royale was apparently really good. But I kind of just I watched it, but I just never got into it. And then I don't know. Those films tried to take themselves more seriously than the rest of the series. So I don't know. I need that cheese.
Yeah, that's definitely where they begin to fall down a little bit. That said, apparently I've not really played much of them yet. I'm waiting for Hitman 3, and then I'm gonna play through all the levels in the Hitman 3 engine. But this new series of Hitman that they've been making over the past couple of years is apparently very heavily inspired by the Daniel Craig Bond films, which is why they were so eager to jump at this opportunity.
Oh, that's interesting. I can kind of see that with some of the levels. I mean, Hitman's always had kind of Bond-esque levels, and I actually, you know what, the villains and the way they've set that up, I can definitely see how that follows from the Daniel Craig Bond films, because it has some similarities in how there's this like secret organization manipulating everything, with the same way they do in his films. Also, those films are good. They're like cinema-wise, they're really well done. It's just, I don't know. I need cheese. Just want to put that out there. But But yeah, I get that. And Hitman, the new Hitman games have been really good. Like, these are the best Hitman games. If you want to play Hitman, these are the ones to go to. I know a lot of people really like Blood Money and stuff, but Blood Money's fun, but these are like the must play.
They sacrifice a little bit of the hardcore mechanics, but I think by doing that they make the sandbox more interesting. I guess it might depend on what you want from a stealth game.
There's also different difficulties.
But you can't just bump up the difficulty, I suppose. But apparently the sandboxes are where it's at in these levels, and that's what really ultimately makes Hitman so much fun anyway. Like, the stealth can be super satisfying, but I think that what really makes Hitman stand out is definitely the sandboxes.
Yeah, like there's a lot of people. There's still like a Hitman sort of community, like on Twitch for a while, because I streamed Hitman for a good few months. There was like a community of people that would speedrun Hitman levels, and you could make your own levels in Hitman by you have to go in and you'd have to like kill a specific target with a specific weapon, and then exit in a certain way, and you'd wear certain stuff. And then once you finish the level, you could save that and have people try and do the same run as you. And you'd have people there'd be leaderboards for that, so you'd have people that would run through and try and speed run them, and they do silly stuff like run in, put a fire extinguisher down, shoot the fire extinguisher, send it flying up to like the second level, and knock someone out with it, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of fun things that you can do in the new Hitman games, and the sandbox is definitely the most enjoyable part, because it's just about all the goofy, silly stuff in Hitman. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I was waiting for a response there. You just zoned out.
Sorry, I was actually like looking at Hitman on Steam. I was toying with the idea, but I'm gonna wait for Hitman 3.
Yeah, definitely wait.
I think I said way back when we were watching one of the PlayStation announcements when they first announced Hitman 3. I actually said I will wait until I've got a PS5. I'll pick up Hitman 3 and I'll just blast through all the levels using Hitman 3's engine, because I love how they do it. How it's a series rather than 3 separate games. So when you're getting Hitman 3, you're actually just buying season 3, and it will come with seasons 1 and 2
Yeah,
built in with the new engine. That's so cool. I love that. So I can't wait to play through
because
all that content.
yeah, because it is like a live service. They actually, there's one other cool thing they really do with those Hitman games is you can unlock suits in the game by doing these. I forgot what they're called. There's like a different contract that they put on. I don't know if I think it's like bi-weekly. It was either bi-weekly or monthly or something, where they'd change the level around completely and have a target for you to take out, and they'd put in like new characters and stuff for the level. So you'd have to go in, and you only got one attempt at it. And if you messed it up, like, I think, could you do it several times? I think you could go back in, but if you mess it up the first time, it will only, like, because the certain suits you have to get, you can unlock by doing these contracts, Silent Assassin. And if you mess that up the first time, you can't get that suit, and you have to wait till the next contract to try and work your way up towards that. So there was cool stuff like that. So there was definitely a big challenge element to it as well, because you couldn't save scum in that either. It wouldn't let you save. It was like hardcore. You're locked in. If you make a mistake, that's it.
Oh, that does sound cool.
Hmm. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with Hitman. So yeah, Hitman with hair will be even more fun. But
What else have we got?
well, talking about live services and passes and stuff. Let's talk about the real gamers Game Pass, the Game Pass for gamers, with play with no limits with the PlayStation's subscription service that they're teasing. So we're talking about PlayStation. They teased the idea that they're gonna have a competitor to Xbox's Game Pass, and I don't know how they're gonna go about it. It's gonna be interesting because they're definitely not going down the same route that Microsoft is gonna.
Yeah, unless they expand on what they've already got, because they're arguing that PlayStation Now is their equivalent, and it technically is because it's been around for a long time and it's mostly streaming, but there are some games that you can actually download and add to your library. And play natively, which to me, that's the big deal with Game Pass. I would not be interested in it at all if it was streaming. I don't want to stream any game ever. I want it there natively. I don't want any potential for a disconnection or input lag, especially with my internet. You know how it is.
Yeah,
So, um, they really need to expand on that part of it. They need to have more games that you can download natively before this is going to be a genuine competitor. That said, they have made this really interesting move with the PS5 where you'll be able to, if you've got a PlayStation Plus subscription, this isn't even part of PS Now, is it? This is actually part of the PlayStation
yeah.
Plus subscription. You'll be able to download and play all of the exclusive PS4 games. So
All the
basically, all the
big
games
last
that
gen
come out,
games.
all the
Yeah,
big last gen games that were like, yeah, the big PS4 IPs, like Last of Us, God of War,
because everyone loved Last
other
of Us too.
well, it was still a big game.
Yeah, it
I
was.
can't
I'm
think of where else
just
it was,
just
but
memeing.
gotta get the meme in there.
Yeah, but
People still love it regardless whether it's good or not. But yeah, like that was a cool tactic at least. But they need to expand on that more, really.
that's what got me interested in the PS5 really, because I was like, I could, just get a subscription and play for all those games I missed out on, and I
Yeah.
feel good about doing that. But it is gonna be really hard to compete with what Xbox is doing. Xbox are like, they're buying out companies. They're like, you work for us now, and they're still going at it. And their strategy, console-wise, so far seems to be, or what we're being led to believe, seems different to PlayStation strategy. So they're doubling down more so on the subscription side of stuff and getting people all hooked on that. While obviously PlayStation wants to compete, but I don't know. I don't know how I don't know if Sony can. I don't know if they can go to that extreme. Because they were doing different things. They were, there was like different paths that they were going down.
They may need to, with how how the industry is trying to push this $70 thing for
Mm.
next gen console games, which is being converted to £70 here. Which, just to make it clear, we were already paying. Everyone's complaining um, in America that they have to pay $70 now. We were last gen paying £50 to £55, which was already $70. We're going up to like $90 now with
Yeah.
this price hike. So we're really here in Europe, and I know in a lot of other countries too, because they've set it to just 70 across the board and not looked into how that actually how each currency would be affected by that. So I can see a lot of countries being forced into this because I'm still not convinced that. I mean, they're not cheap in the long run. These prescriptions, it adds up, but it's still
Mm.
going to end up being a lot cheaper than paying
Oh
extortionate
yeah.
amounts for these games.
I think one of the things is Microsoft are way more dominant when it comes to the PC market than Sony can ever be, honestly. So that's where they're gonna struggle.
This is also where it works out really well for us, though, because we can just get Game Pass, play all those games on PC, and then we only need to pick up one console, and we're not going to feel like we're missing out on any exclusives. We're going to have
Yeah.
everything. So
So that is a big benefit. I mean, hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, PlayStation will try and compete on PC. I don't know if they will. We'll just see what happens. Because they're gonna
I'm not
have to.
convinced they'll try.
I feel like they might have to try and go toe to toe. They'll have some sort of service set up there. They'll try.
I'll try.
But
Try
yeah,
is all they can do.
we should definitely move it along though, because I feel like we went off on a few tangents and dragged out the podcast a bunch. But yeah. So let's talk about Yellow Brick Games, which is a new studio, which has been it's had the creative director of Dragon Age and some of the EA veterans and also Ubisoft veterans, so be careful there. But but it's interesting. So they've came out with a new studio, and I'm not sure what kind of games they're going to be working on, but I mean, they worked on a lot of RPGs.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see if they bring stuff like that out. That'd be a lot of... Because I'd be interested in a really good Dragon Age type game, you know?
Definitely. And these guys have the chops for it. I think this is really interesting because this is like the fourth week in a row that we've had a story like this.
Yeah.
And I'm beginning to wonder whether we're going to see a resurgence of these mid-level dev teams. I know that, like, to use the clunky term that's not great,
Double
they
A.
were at one point referred to as double A developers. It's not been a thing for a while, but it looks like it's coming back. And especially when you got these people who are breaking away from the big companies so they can have more creative freedom, it looks promising. And
Yeah.
we might get a lot of really interesting games going forward. And these guys they've got the chops. I mean,
They might even make AAA games, considering AAA games now want to be quadruple A games.
very true. Maybe they'll actually have reasonable prices. And yeah, this guy's Mike Laidlaw. He is the creative director of Dragon Age, so he could make a pretty decent CRPG and knock it out of the park.
Yeah, and then I'm sure there's plenty of other people that come along that also worked on Dragon Age and similar games. And then you have people over on Ubisoft that, well, they know how to make an open world game.
I mean, from what we've seen of Ubisoft, to be fair to them, it does seem like the developers are very competent.
Yeah.
And you know what that shines through in the games? You can tell that a lot of passion and a lot of talent goes into these games. It's the upper management decisions where
Yeah,
things fall apart.
it always is. Like, which is good to see them breaking off and actually, maybe getting a chance to do something they more so want to do, having more freedom to be like, hey, here's this really cool idea, and not have it shot down.
Yeah, that'd be very nice. Maybe we can actually have like a female protagonist. Imagine that.
No, I still gotta have a choice.
That was stupid. Men don't want that.
To be fair, everyone seems to really like the female protagonists in like the last few Assassin's Creed, so I don't get why they're still like so flip floppy on it.
Yeah, that exactly. Especially since it's now turned out that all those female side characters were actually meant to be the protagonists, which is probably why they're all more fleshed out than the actual protagonist. We've spoken about that at length already, though.
We've talked a lot about Ubisoft, but we're going to talk a little bit more about them because there's been something interesting going on. There's been the Skull and Bones managing director was ousted, so this was an interesting one that came up, but it looks like it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, so his removal comes after a leadership audit, which was looking into allegations of sexual harassment.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so he's probably another one of those.
Probably. This is in a Singapore studio, so it's not in sort of the HQ like a lot of these have been. This is in one of the outsourced dev teams, but it's actually I'm glad to see that they are.
Yeah, it's nice to see them following up.
Company. Yeah, and I'm glad that they're actually checking everywhere because they've got dev teams all over the world, and it's good to see that they're checking everywhere, especially since different parts of the world have different standards on this sort of thing too. So it's good to make sure everyone's on the same level here. I mean, there are some companies who don't handle this well. Famously, Nintendo, their Russian branch is like famously corrupt, and they do awful things like the sexual harassment involved. It's awful, and Nintendo can't even fix them because the guy who's in charge of Nintendo Russia has ties to the Russian mafia. It's all
that's no surprise. Russia's a crazy place.
Honestly, but my point is, at least they're trying to make it level across the board with Ubisoft, and it's good to see. I just hope that they're actually following through with this. But the one disappointment here is that he's not actually been fired. He's been shuffled off somewhere else where he can be out of the spotlight. So
it's what they do with most of these executives, which, even if they get kicked out of the company, they end up in another company nice and comfy anyway. But, I mean, it's good that they've taken him out of the leadership role at least. Would have been, would have been better if they maybe just got rid of him completely, but...
It leaves a slightly sour taste in my mouth anyway.
It does. I mean, I don't know. I'm happy to see them actually making changes. So, you know what, Ubisoft? Pat on the back. You've done okay. You've done okay.
Step in the right direction, as long as this is serious and not just something they're doing until the fire dies down. But we can't tell.
We will bring it up each week. We will bring those allegations and all the messed up stuff Ubisoft does every week. Don't worry. As long as I breathe, Ubisoft, I will be here. Being as petty as I can be.
Definitely the jingle for the Ubisoft.
We definitely do. We need some jingle. We do need to set up some jingles for the podcast. We'll get that set up. Yeah. But some more on Ubisoft.
More Ubisoft,
yes. Yeah. Ubisoft, Japan, over in Japan, if you're playing a little Assassin's Creed, there's mysteriously no blood.
Not at all.
Which is a really weird one. They don't seem to really understand the reason why.
Yeah, so this is having no blood or having censored blood is fairly common in Japan. Their ratings board over there for games doesn't usually like it.
But
you've been playing Danganronpa. Danganronpa's got pink blood for that reason.
Yeah.
But Ubisoft blamed the ratings board. This is kind of like the games versus Yodel thing. Yeah, Ubisoft blamed the ratings board, and the ratings board said no, it wasn't us. So now people are like, is it what? Is it a glitch? Or like what is going on?
Yeah.
And no one knows.
And the previous Assassin's Creed game had blood and it was fine. So I don't know what happened with this one. Maybe they were just like, oh, I guess, cultural differences, we'll just take the blood out or something. Someone up in the management at Ubisoft thought it was a good idea, because the rating board wouldn't come out and be like, no, we didn't say anything. They wouldn't say that. They've got no reason to be like that. So this was clearly a Ubisoft decision.
Yeah, it's crazy because apparently the Japanese version of Valhalla, in the settings, it does have a option
Yeah.
to toggle blood, but it doesn't work if you switch it on. There's still no blood, which is heavily implying that this is a glitch. And Valhalla's full of bugs. That's been getting reported all week. It's a very buggy game. It's clearly being rushed out slightly to hit the launch deadline for the new consoles. But for Ubisoft to say that it's not, it's just such a strange move. I don't understand. Like, they were obviously trying to scapegoat the Japanese ratings board, but they are having none of that. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad they came out and was like, no, Ubisoft, it wasn't us. I don't know what you guys are doing over there.
Ubisoft specifically said, we were like called into a meeting to discuss this, and we consulted with them. This is the decision we came to, and the ratings board actually came back and said that this meeting never happened. They'd never been consulted about the blood. None of it was true.
And they've got no reason to do that unless they just want to dunk on Ubisoft. Maybe they watch the podcast and they're like, yeah, you know what? Let's make fun of Ubisoft.
I can see that. That makes sense.
Yeah, you know, everyone watches the podcast after all.
Yeah, but huge.
But yeah, I don't know. This was just a weird one. Again, a lot of Ubisoft heavy news this week, but we'll move on from that because that's it for Ubisoft. But let's talk about my second favorite company. Let's talk about Twitch. So, the co-founder of Twitch has abandoned ship.
Whoops.
Well, I mean, he doesn't say why he left. He was just like, he doesn't say where he's going next. But I think it's Kevin Lin was the co-founder.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm done. I'll see you around. Which, again, Twitch, I am very worried about. Like, they put out, we didn't really go into detail, but they put out an apology about it the week before, and they had GlitchCon, which was their virtual, like, TwitchCon, essentially, and it was well produced and stuff, but they very much glossed over the whole DMCA thing and all the problems with the site right now, and they've gave out like a really half-hearted apology, being like, sorry guys, we really should have done something. And that was it. That's all they really said.
It was a really strange apology.
And not to mention, they also have this whole issue where even if you delete your VOD clip, it can still be DMCA'd because they have all of this stored on a public Amazon server that the RIAA, their like web crawlers, will end up in there anyway and find it, and then you'll get a DMCA strike, and that's on you. But that also means that Twitch are probably liable as well for still having that up, even though, because they're not doing everything they can to stay in safe harbor when it comes to that. So it's very worrying for Twitch's future, and they really have to fix this problem. Otherwise, again, I don't know how long Twitch is going to last. I'd say there's a good like 30% chance that Twitch could get shut down in the next year. Just throwing a random number out.
Pick that switch. Just pick it. Pick it and press it.
Yeah. I mean, YouTube just need to flick the switch. Jeff
Chop that switch.
I think it's like an 80-20 situation, you know, where Amazon are just like sitting, having, you know, they're doing fine, and then they've got this like, not even 1% of their business causing all these issues, and they're like, I don't need to be dealing with this. They could either gonna just cut the thread on it or sell it off. They could just be like, we don't need to deal with this. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Twitch. It's a mess. They really need to sort this out. Emma Chia needs to step down. I
think it's wishful thinking. I think you just want to escape the purple site.
Purple site bad.
Purple site ain't no good.
But the one good thing about Twitch is at least that they let me flame them. You know, they let me come on the podcast every week on their own website and just talk about them.
That's true. We have nothing good to say about Twitch. I've never even liked Twitch. I've never used this website as like an actual user. I'm just here with you because it's good fun. But
it's a ton of fun to stream, and I feel like the only redeeming thing Twitch has is its like community and the stuff built up around that. Other than that, it's a bit of a mess. And honestly, other platforms could very easily take over because I think Twitch is in a decline right now.
Yeah, the community thing is the only thing that it has that other sites couldn't do better, which is its big problem.
But I don't know, we'll see. That's all I can really say about Twitch. I'm just gonna keep complaining about it every week, much like Ubisoft. I need a jingle for Twitch as well. It'll just be like purple side, bad, and that'll be it. Just throw some.
Side. Oh
no, yeah, careful! You're way too close to the actual song there.
Fair use, it's parody.
But yeah, I think that is all the news this week anyway. So, thank you for watching, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Tef, where can the people find you on the interwebs?
Interwebs, I am on Twitter as Teffers, because Tefrium was taken, still angry.
It's okay, I understand your pain.
It's not good. Yeah, you've got a few issues like that, I know. But yeah, that's the main place to find me. I also write Medium articles where I kind of just ramble about games, kind of like I do here, but it's hopefully a little bit more eloquent, a little bit more put together. And you can find.
You are a writer for the award-winning Super Jump, after all.
They won like one shitty little award. Hey, now fish.
Don't downplay it. Don't downplay it. Just play it up.
You know, I just write on Medium occasionally, and the latest article that I've written is always pinned on Twitter, so you can go and check it out. I think the latest one is about Vice City and Synthwave, because Synthwave has just kind of been my thing this year. So
yeah, I mean, synth is good, and you have a whole playlist of synth that I sent you, so you've been enjoying that.
I'm hooked on Haratello.
But
today.
Oh, it is good stuff. But yeah, well, I mean, if you want to find me, Zanrise on Twitch, you're already here, probably. You already know who I am. And, you know, if you want to watch my YouTube, it's Zanrise on YouTube, Zan Games on Twitter, Real Zanrise on Instagram. We got a Discord as well. You can join that if you want. But yeah, that is it for the show. Thank you for joining us all tonight, joining in the discussion, hanging out, having a good time. We will be back next week to probably complain about Twitch and Ubisoft even more, and talk about other various video games. So
Sign me up.
Thank you for watching all, and we will join you next week. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.